Wow, 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 wow. Double live stream day, do I hear you say? Yes, absolutely. I mean, who's this? Who's this? This isn't Rhyme on 1-8. Take me back to the original one, who's a lazy bastard. Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back on the channel. We're live this afternoon. Celtic breaking the news over the past half an hour or so that SEAD HAKŠABANOVIĆ has officially signed for the club. Not just signed for the club, ladies and gentlemen, signed for the club on a 5-year contract. 5-year contract. Our business is booming this summer. He becomes the 7th signing of the window. Honestly, I am very, very pleased. I don't need to go through all my opinions and thoughts on the guy. We probably will numerous times throughout this live stream, and I'll be sure to get you guys in the comments involved as the stream goes on. I don't need to reiterate how much I've wanted this to happen. Not only this window since it became a reality, but for years how much I've wanted to see this guy play for Celtic. It's like a dream come true. There are tears in my eyes as the hoops are donned upon him. And it's finally official. We heard yesterday that he'd jetted into Glasgow. He was here. He was ready for his medical. It was only a matter of time before he signed. And here we are on a very important day for Celtic with the Champions League draw. Nearly knocked over the fan there. With the Champions League draw at 5 o'clock. To build up into that with this news being announced about half an hour ago is just absolutely insane. What a day for Celtic. The thing we need now, the cherry on the cake, would be a favourable draw later on in that Champions League pot. Before we get into talking about... listen. Let's not get carried away with it, Aaron. Let's not get carried away with it. I'll get everybody involved as the stream goes on. Of course, we're going to dive into the technicalities of the transfer in a moment. Just a quick reminder, we will be live again tonight in the channel. It won't just be me. Ryan McGinley should be joining me. He'll be here at 5 o'clock alongside me as we preview and react to the Champions League draw as it happens. Now, you know what the Champions League draw is like. You're sitting there for 2 hours listening to Giorgio Marchetti and the troops give out every award under the sun. And by the time Celtic are drawing out, we'll be getting ready for our beds. But we'll be here. We'll be live throughout the entirety of it. We'll be chatting about HAKŠABANOVIĆ. We'll be chatting about everything else. And we'll just be having a laugh as the draw is done. So make sure to be here at 5 o'clock. And it'll be a good laugh. We do it every year. Usually it's for the Europa League, right enough. But this year it's the Champions League. So I'll need to get the shirt and tie on, won't I? Christ. Right, anyway, let's dive in. I'm seeing a lot of people in the comment section. For 170 viewers as we currently speak. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. We're going to keep going through. Do you want my Giorgio Marchetti impression just now, Adam? Well, here we go. We're going to switch over to the draw, and we're going to watch as the 2022-23 Champions League group stage is drawn. Is that profiling an Italian accent? I don't know. It does sound like him. That's how he sounds, right? I mean, it's just an impression at the end of the day, right? Before I get done, let's go over to the Celtic website with the statement that was released this afternoon, not long ago at all. I hope you can you all see that okay? Is it big enough? Is it big enough? Can we all read it? Can we all read it? I'm hoping we can. Aaron, behave yourself, son. Right. Celtic Football Club is delighted to announce that SEAD HAKŠABANOVIĆ has signed a 5-year deal with the champions to become the 7th signing of the summer, subject to international clearance. The 23-year-old signed from Rubin Kazan, having spent the last few months of the 21-22 season on loan with Swedish side Djurgårdens. I don't know if that's pronunciation spot on, but as close as you're going to get here. Born in Sweden, the attacker started his career in the country of his birth at Halmstad before signing for the English Premier League side West Ham in 2017. It just kind of runs through his career. So we know his career. We've spoke about it a lot. We're going to delve into transfer market in a moment to have a look at his stats and how he's been doing over the past few years. But speaking to Celtic, he said, "It feels amazing. What I know about Celtic is only good things, and I'm very happy to be here. I heard about it around a month ago, and as soon as I heard that Celtic wanted me, I said to my agent that he had to make it happen because this is where I want to play." I want to give him a big hug. I want to let him know. I don't know if they're going to do the fan media pressers that they usually... They probably will. They'll probably have a fan media presser that they have normally when a player signs or whatever. So if I am invited along and I am present in his presence, I need to drill through to him how much he means to me in this channel. He was part of the Europa League winning side of Football Manager 2017. He was the key player, in fact, of the Europa League winning side in FM 2017. I need to tell him that. It's an amazing club with good players, fans and history. I've been watching some games and I think the team play in the same style as me. So I think one of the key things to take away from what he he's already said to Celtic and what he said in this kind of opening interview to the club is he's known about this move and he's been watching the team alongside the kind of progression of the move. Of course, it's been very quiet to us up until probably, last week? I was in Magaluf when the news dropped, really. So up until last week, we're quite in the dark. He said about a month ago. So obviously, he's been in the pipeline he's been working with it for the past month or so. And it's good that he's been watching the team. He's been getting familiar with the style. I feel like he is the kind of player with the age that he is now, with the experience that he has playing first team football, and with also just keeping in track with the team at the moment. He'll be ready to come in. I think he'll be ready to fit into this style, this system like a glove. A very attacking player, being an attacker, of course. But I think from the glimpses and such I've managed to see of him throughout his career, he's someone who's going to fit this system perfectly, I think. And the beauty of him is the fact that he can play in the left, the right, and the middle. You know, we're very spoiled in relation to where we can play him. I've been speaking to the manager as well, and we had a good chat speaking about how he sees me as a player and how he wants me to fit into his system. And everything sounded good. So that was it for me. It's good to hear he's so assured. And I know it's generic, it's fucking, bottom of the barrel stuff. It's the kind of things you expect to hear. It's, I spoke to the manager, the style, blah, blah, blah. You expect to hear these things, but it is obviously very nice to hear. I'm a playmaker with some flair. I'm good in one-on-ones. That's handy. I like that. I have a powerful shot, I'm quick, and I'll give everything for this club. The team are doing great, and I want to be part of that and make the fans, the club, and myself happy. He speaks about the Champions League a little bit as well. And then he talks about, of course, the guys he knows in relation to Celtic, which is a very interesting part. Let's kind of touch on this before we start talking about more opinion. He said he knows that Henrik Larsson's a big legend, and he knows his son really well. Wonder if he was in touch with his son over this past transfer window. Of course, there was the whole saga with Jordan Larsson. Hopefully I can do something similar to him, which is very hard to achieve, but I'm going to try my best. Listen, if HAKŠABANOVIĆ can deliver even half of what Henrik Larsson delivered to Celtic, I will look at him as the greatest Celt of all time. Quite genuinely. I know Joe Hart and Albin Ayeti from West Ham. I mean, I love that he knows Joe. I love that already. Albin Ayeti, I mean, you only see him for a couple of weeks, fella. Maybe a week or so, probably. And I spent time with Carl in Russia. He saw somewhere that I was linked to Celtic, and he wrote to me. Now, I want to know if he actually wrote to him, or he texted him, like wrote. Does he actually mean physically wrote? Did Carl Starfelt? Because it just doesn't surprise me. Carl Starfelt strikes me as a guy to have the favour out with the ink pot. He has his seal of approval to stamp the letter shut. I can honestly see Carl Starfelt with a quill just writing away on this big long sheet of fucking wrinkled paper. But Carl wrote to me, said he didn't want to say too much. I just asked him about the club and he only said good things. So I can't wait to get started now. So there you go. Said HAKŠABANOVIĆ and all of his comments and joining the club, in case you've not had the chance to read the article yet. It is official, a 5-year contract. He's been in the talks with the club for a while now. He's heard about it for a month or so, pushing through the transfer, it seems, with his agent and getting in contact with the manager and players and everybody who knows the club. I think that it's very exciting to have him here through the door. I think this is a transfer that we can all really get behind. That's a good question, by the way, Keane. We'll come to a Q&A bit at the end and try and throw it in again, so I don't lose my stride here, but I like that question. Let's change over to quickly his transfer mark profile. Now, we don't really need to delve into this as much because we have already done this on the channel. We've already looked through his career thus far. Of course, he has been around a little bit. He got that big move to West Ham a few years ago after his spell at Norrköping. Went to West Ham. It didn't really work out from there. It was really difficult for him to get into the West Ham team at such a young age. Like, he was 18 when he joined the club. And you've got to remember, West Ham have been a club who since 2017 have been on a kind of progression, a really steady rise, and have had a lot of great players. It's hard to break into that team. They've signed really well, West Ham, over the past few years, and that's why he ended up spending time away in loan moves. And then Ruben Kazan obviously didn't work out either as he went there. But listen, one thing we've not spoke about, and I don't know what transfer mark to report that is, they've not actually got the transfer down yet as official. The transfer fee itself, we've not spoke about that yet on this stream. So the transfer fee itself, I've seen reports suggesting that Celtic have signed HAKŠABANOVIĆ for as little as £1.7 million. That's That is... Oof. Ruben Kazan signed him for, what, almost 6 million quid. And take it with a pinch of salt. There hasn't been, I think, an official number published as of yet. It'll be undisclosed as well. But reports are suggesting that HAKŠABANOVIĆ has signed for Celtic for a fee as little as £1.7 million. For a guy who moved only last year for $5 million. That is some Donald Trump art of the deal shit. That's what that is. What a bargain. If that has been the known fee this whole time, this whole process of signing SEAD HAKŠABANOVIĆ, the entirety from the beginning to the signing today, if we have known we could get him for £1.7 million, it was a no-brainer. It had to happen. He had to sign for Celtic. There's no doubt about that. Once again, very much a reported figure at this moment in time. But if that is the case, what a steal. We have landed an absolute bargain. And it could not be passed up on. That's the thing now. Even if and I don't want to lump on all this expectation to HAKŠABANOVIĆ to come in and light the world apart and tear up the Premiership. He could come in and he could flop. Like any player could. Touch wood, it doesn't happen. I don't want it. He's automatically my favourite outfield player at the club. Touch wood, that's not going to happen. But even if he comes in and flops now, for the sake of £1.7 million, that was a risk it's well worth taking. And we are now adding in to a really good squad already. We are building such a unit now with HAKŠABANOVIČ coming in here. So hopefully the 1.7 million, as reported, is the actual fee. That would be delightful if that is the case. Here is his stats from recent years. Had a very good spell with Norrköping in 2020. He obviously spent time with June Gardens, as we spoke about a moment ago. He didn't really get going at Ruben Kazan, but I think it's something like 46 goal contributions in around 70 games in the Swedish Premier Division. A very good record. Here's his record in general: 21 goals, 25 assists with Norrköping, which obviously equal 46 and 76. What a record with Norrköping, by the way. A good team, decent enough league, decent enough standard. We've obviously signed a lot of good Scandinavian players, technically Montenegrin, as we know, HAKŠABANOVIČ, but Swedish born. Halmstad's not as great a record, but still decent enough. And he's had a kind of stop-start career outside that, but left wing, attacking midfield, capable of the right wing as well. We've got someone that can cover all flanks in the attacking third. I'm very excited about all of this. Still only 23 years of age as well. 5-year contract. If he was to see out that 5 years, he's here through the prime of his career. And I think that this is a player who's been choking for the first team football consistently, that now he's got to get it at the best stage of his career. He could really, really shine for Celtic. He could be a really big standout player. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. Nah, we've not signed him for anything near that, Terry. I can guarantee that, because I think it was around €6 million that Ruben Kazan paid, and we know that we're signing him for a fraction of that price. Whether the correct fee is £1.7 million, I don't know, but it is significantly less than the £5 million that Ruben Kazan paid. I think that part is pretty much guaranteed. So yeah, we'll get in here. We'll be live for around 15 minutes. So let's get your questions. I think one thing I need to do very quickly. Oh, there's Ewan. There's Ewan. What a legend. What did we pay for Berigta? Let's have a quick look. I think that we paid around £1.5 million for Berigta, didn't we? And listen, I don't want any Dirk fucking Berigta comparisons, Ewan. If we're comparing my man here, SEAD HAKŠABANOVIČ, to Dirk Berigta, I will be absolutely furious. Dirk Berigta, fucking hell, 2-time SPL winner. Celtic. Did he retire at Celtic? I thought he moved on after us. Christ, apparently we signed him for £2.9 million. £2.25 million, I think, is what we apparently signed Dirk Berigta for. I always thought it was less than that, but there you go. We're having no Dirk Berigta comparisons, Ewan. Absolutely none. None at all. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, so SEAD, is that a Swedish name? I have no idea. He's obviously got heritage from Montenegro. He plays for the Montenegrin national team. He was born in Sweden. I'd imagine that he's probably more Montenegrin than he is Swedish. Right, let's get into one thing I wanted to check, right? Before we get into a Q&A, and I'll let you get all your questions in, and we'll have a wee 5-10 minutes of questions and answers before we go live again tonight. Let's go into the official Celtic store. Is it possible to get him on a shirt yet? Because I'm getting him on the home shirt. Absolutely no doubt about it. He's getting put on my home shirt. I have waited for this man to play for Celtic. Is he there yet? Nah, he's not yet. Can get like the Japanese. He's not there. Number 9. Not on the website yet. But I wonder if you could go down to the store and get it. See, he's obviously got like the accents above the letters in his name, so I don't know if they have them in stock yet or whatever. But I am certainly going to be getting him on the back of my shirt. Anyway, this is excellent. Yes, Ewan. Dirk Berigter, excellent business. See, at the time, though, remember when Dirk Berigter signed? I was buzzing when we signed Dirk Berigter. A winger from Ajax, a Dutch winger from Ajax. That's going to be amazing. This is Arjen Robben we're signing. Fucking may as well have signed Stephen Hawking, to be quite honest. Right, let's get some questions. But he's been given number 9, Dundas. He's been given number 9, Lee Griffiths' old number. So there you go. I know, I was thinking that. It's like, if it's price per letter still, Christ, it's like very good of Hesselink standard, isn't it? Where does he play with a bad Jota in mind? This is the question that has been popping up the most. Also, very good question, Peter. Have Celtic ever had a Montenegrin player? Let's see, Montenegro. I doubt it. I really do doubt it that we've had a Montenegrin player. No, I don't think so. I think he is the first ever Montenegrin player at Celtic, as far as I'm aware, as far as Google was telling me as well. Where's it? This is obviously the biggest question. Where does he play with Jota, Maeda and Abada and such in the team? It's a very good headache we're now going to have, especially with European football coming up. We're going to have to rotate. We're going to have to bring players in. I think that HAKŠABANOVIĆ isn't going to go straight into the first team, but I honestly do believe, and I hope he has the quality to take one of the starting spots. I don't know what one, but I hope so. Now, do we resort back to Ange's system is perfect, but if you think of us in a classic 4-2-3-1 formation, right? Think of it like that for a moment. I know we play more of a 4-3-3 with the two sort of attacking midfielders, but think of us for a moment as a more kind of old-fashioned 4-2-3-1, right? I think the perfect situation is Abada or Jota on the right, Maeda on the left, and HAKŠABANOVIĆ in the middle. And then sitting in behind there, O'Reilly and McGregor. Something like that, if that works. I don't know. There's a lot of footing about to do, but we're in a really, really good position in terms of how we rotate. I don't think we necessarily need to worry about who gets dropped out at this moment in time, because they're going to get a lot of time in between them all. He wouldn't sign... I think we've got to consider this for a moment. I don't think that HAKŠABANOVIČ would have signed for the club if he knew he was coming in to sit on the bench 24/7. You know what I mean? He's going to obviously have assurances there, and I think the squad will realise that as well. So, yeah. Well, let's see what else. It seems like a good impact player, decent strength for a winger. Could be absolutely. If you could build a Celtic all-time 11, how many times would you clone Marian Shved? I think 8. I'd have 8 Marian Shveds, Ewan. 8. I think 8 is a suitable amount of Marian Shved. Wonder if he goes into the squad for United away. I wouldn't see why not. He has been playing football. I'd imagine he is match fit. I think he'll be in the squad. I could see him being on the bench. There's definitely a place for him on the bench. You look at how good the bench was at the weekend, right? Brilliant. One of the strongest benches I've seen at Celtic in a long, long time. But you can certainly make space for HAKŠABANOVIČ on there, can't you? You can certainly bring him on there. I think he will be in the squad. I really do see it. I'll be back with Castle. Christ, there's a name. May as well stay live till 5 p.m. 5 p.m. now. Do a mukbang or something. Christ. What would you want me to mukbang? That's the question. Where does Forrest go now in Johnston? For me, this signing, this all but ends the Celtic career of Mikey Johnston. Simply put. I don't mean that in a vicious way or a very negative way. We are obviously hearing the murmurs that they're still looking for a move out for Mikey Johnston. Standard Liège was linked heavily with Ronnie Deila in Belgium. I imagine there's probably other clubs who have inquired. The rumour is that they are looking over options. If they're looking over options and they've now brought in another left winger, Johnston's career at Celtic has to be done, doesn't it? That's just speaking realistically, not saying I want that to happen or I'm wishing ill upon Mikey Johnston. I just think that realistically, when you sit down and assess the situation, it would say that. As for Forrest, his situation doesn't change. His situation's still the exact same. He'll be used when he needs to be used or when Ange thinks it's a suitable point to use him. He signed a 3-year contract to see out his career at Celtic, and he's going to see very limited game time in that. Nothing's changed for Forrest in that respect. He'll play when he plays, but I don't think that'll be an awful lot. Let's see. Hey, if someone comes along with 30 million euros for Jota next window, we'll be happy we made this move. Very fucking good point. Not even considered that, Dundas. That is a really, really good point. Realistically, we're going to really struggle to keep a hold of Jota beyond next season. We are, let's be realistic. I don't want to think about it. Let's enjoy him while he's here, right? But that's exactly what we have to do. We have to enjoy him while he's here. He's far too fucking good. He's going to get snapped up, hopefully for more than 30 million quid, right? But he's going to get snapped up. There's no doubt about that. And we're now prepared. We've got HAKŠABANOVIĆ in, who is already ready to go over to that left-hand side when Jota goes. Obviously, right now, Jota plays on the right-hand side, but the sentiment remains the same. A very good point, which I never actually considered. I like that. But let's not think about Jota leaving. Jota's never leaving. We're not letting that happen. We will strap ourselves to the M8 to create a barrier between here and Glasgow Airport or Edinburgh Airport or Prestwick, wherever, and he will not leave this country. We'll make sure of it. Mikey Johnson to Dialist Belgian teams and Celtic rejects. I know it seems to be a running theme there, doesn't it? Like Origi Day, Henry, Johnson. Seems to be a sort of running theme. Ryan's been manscaped, have I? Have I been manscaped? That sounds like a dream team right there, Aaron. It really does. We won't keep Jota past January, says Parkinson. I think we will. I think we'll keep him past January. I think we'll struggle to keep him beyond next summer, but I really do think we'll keep him past January. I think there's that long left in his contract. He's just signed here permanently. I think that both parties will be very eager to stay. You know, Celtic will want him to stay. I think Jota will want to stay and see the full season out here. And then maybe options will be... You know, Ryan, you reckon he's as hard as SEAD Kolasinac that played for Arsenal? Well, I don't mind him being as hard as Kolasinac. I really don't. Hopefully not as card prone. Hopefully not that. He loved a slice, didn't he? Whether it was cheese or red, you know, whether it was a yellow or a red card, that Kolasinac loved it. And I don't want to see HAKŠABANOVIĆ getting sent off every fucking 5 games or whatever. Kyogo can also play in the wing. Very good point. HAKŠABANOVIĆ will play in the Tom Rogic playmaker role, says Paul McFarlane. I think he'll be utilised in there as well at times. As I was saying, if you think of a classic sort of 4-2-3-1, I could really see SEAD HAKŠABANOVIČ playing in the middle of that. But I think that it's so early to try and dictate or try and determine where he will play in amongst that front three or whatever, because he is so versatile and we haven't seen him play for Celtic yet. So I think that there is a genuine conversation. If he'll play, you know, I think his first game will be very telling. When he comes on the park and he's playing either in the middle or the left, I think that'll be telling as to where we'll see him most played. So we'll wait and see. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I loved him, and that's why I've wanted him to sign. If we do some damage in the Champions League this season, surely we'll break the transfer record multiple times over by next summer. Well, you'd imagine if we need to make progress in Europe, don't we? And we'll talk about this tonight. This will probably be one of the main talking points in the live stream surrounding the Champions League draw. But if we want to make progress in Europe, and that's the kind of next step for Celtic, then we need to spend money, don't we? And I think that by starting that this season in the Champions League, we'll then start to see things like that happen, breaking our transfer record, beating £9 million for Edouard, stuff like that. I think that will probably happen. Exactly. That is, Martin, very good point. I mean, we're keeping teams on their... That sounded so fucking like Edinburgh. I was like, keeping... What was that about? We're keeping teams on their toes, aren't we? You know, we're keeping them... They don't know what to expect because they don't even know what we're starting with nowadays. You know, I find it hard to predict. I know we've started the same team every game, basically, the same forward three. It's been Kyogo, Maeda, Jota every game so far. But every team must walk up to Celtic Park or when it's an away game, their own stadium, and go, I wonder who they're playing in the front three today. How do we set up? Is it going to be Jota? Is it going to be Maeda? Is it going to be Abada? Is it going to be Kyogo? Is it going to be Yakimakis? I don't think teams really... And now we've got HAKŠABANOVIĆ in there. We are really keeping teams on their toes. And then you change up as the game goes on. You're keeping them on their toes even longer. It's fantastic. It really is good. 25 minutes. We'll get a couple more questions. Did you mean the opposite, Sean? Right, okay. The same thing, yeah, of course. I think that as well. Yeah, I agree. Both sides, it works both sides, doesn't it? Transfer in, transfer out. The record should be shattered a number of times, especially with inflation. You know, it's going to happen. But I'm very excited nonetheless. I'm very, very excited. What's the chances I'm starting against Rangers? Will Ange go with 2 of the proven 3? I would be surprised if he started against Rangers. I think that Ange will stick with the players that he knows right now and has been using right now. But we've got a couple of games in between then. We've got, of course, Dundee United the weekend. We've got Ross County in the Cup midweek, and then it's Rangers. So, you know, we have time to dictate and decide who we think should be starting in that game. Right. Well, do you know what? That's going to be it for just now, because I'm going to be live later. Remember, thank you, by the way, nearly 500 viewers at this moment in time. I really do appreciate your support for this impromptu stream. I did not expect to be doing it. But we're going to be live again tonight, 5 o'clock sharp for the Champions League draw. I will be joined by Ryan McGinley. You can get all your questions in. If you've been sending in questions I've not answered here, you'll have like 2 hours to get them through tonight because we'll be live for a long... It'll basically be like a live extended podcast, if you like. So we'll be live at 5 o'clock on the button. Make sure and be there. We're reacting to that Champions League draw. No, the draw is at 5, Sean. The draw is at 5. I'm double check it because you're making me worry here a little bit. But I'm pretty sure it's 5 o'clock. Let's see, Champions League draw. I'm pretty sure it's 5. What time is the Champions League draw? What time is the Champions League draw? I'm pretty sure it's 5. You're getting me doubting myself now. I knew I was right. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock. Okay, it's 5. And it goes off there. The coverage starts at 4:45 p.m. We'll be live at 5 p.m. on this channel. Yeah. So make sure and join us because it'll be a good laugh and we'll be taking all your questions, all the rest of it. Right. I'm going to get some lunch, get prepared for tonight's stream and get all my stuff ready. Yeah, thank you. See you, HAKŠABANOVIĆ.